Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Tay TV Shows Edition. How y'all doing this lovely Friday? Um, we're gonna jump right into today's episode because I want to ask y'all a question. When's the last time a new sitcom when the last time you watched a sitcom, a new sitcom that like from back in like this like from back in the day that made you laugh? I'm trying to figure out how to put the words so it don't sound crazy, but and 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 the reason why I ask that is because there are sitcoms in this time frame that are similar to today's time. Now, today we're going to talk about some shows that I have seen, some shows that I haven't seen, but this is just for comparison. And some of these shows, some people have already seen themselves. But I just wanted to come up with a comparison list of shows that are similar to maybe shows I've seen back in the day or that, carry the same grit, you know. But I hear a lot of people, you know, they either say that the new sitcoms are better than the old or the old is better than the new. And honestly, it's all within the person's perspective. So what I'm saying is we can't never really say for another person what's better than what. But in today's episode, instead of us talking about a single character or a single TV show, I want to compare some shows that I've seen back in the day versus some shows I have seen, some of them I haven't seen. Some of them I keep hearing about them and I should watch them. So we're going to go old school versus the new school, middle school, whatever you want to call it, cuz some of the stuff is going to be in between. Um so one thing to point out about today's sitcoms versus back in the day sitcoms is back in the day you would get anywhere between a guaranteed 16 to 25 episodes a season. Usually, somewhere in between that window. Today's time, you're looking at 8 to 10 episodes minimum per season unless you're Tyler Perry and you still do the back in the day 16, 22 and shit like that. I'm not sure what the reason is for shrinking the seasons. I don't know if it's to make the shows last longer, um, or if the writers just don't have enough for that season and that's just what they stop at. I'm not sure where that came from or what caused the drop in episodes per season. I'm not sure. Might be budgets too. Um, then you got back in the day where you had to watch your show on the network, right? In today's time, now we have streaming sites like, well, BET Plus is no longer BET Plus. You got Paramount Plus, you got Disney Plus, you got Hulu, you got Netflix, you got Pluto, you got Tubi. You got all these new streaming sites that you could watch all your favorite TV shows and movies and stuff on these days. So back in the day, because I'm part of the last generation that watched their shows on the TV, on the network, not on a streaming website. I'm in that middle where I'm the last generation that watched it on TV, but now the new generation's got these streaming services, so I'm getting the best of both worlds because I remember watching it on the network, watching stuff on Oprah's Own, watching stuff on MTV or BET or HBO. When HBO was on just on TV, it wasn't on the streaming site. So that's some of the differences, but the good thing is you can still watch your shows on the network. It's just that they're available on streaming as well. So it gives you a variety to watch a show. Um, Back in the day, the shows they grew with you, right? Everything was just growing with you. Um, in today's time, there's only a few selective shows that grow with you, whereas a lot of them now are just fast paced, straight to the point. Don't get me wrong, sometimes that's good, because sometimes shows can be dragged on a little too long and sometimes they can get shrunk too fast. But um I have noticed that a lot of shows they skip straight to the point. They don't build you up to what led to that point. They don't explain how you got somewhere. It just jumps straight to the next part, which I have seen that some people have issues with it because they're like, well, hell, how the hell did we get here? And I'm noticing this, my generation is like, well, how the fuck did we get here? Because that's what we used to. We used to getting led to the event, not just here you go, you know? Um, the style of comedy in TV shows also has changed because back in the day, you could say almost just about anything, and everything was good. Fresh Prince, Bernie Mac, Girlfriends, George Lopez, um, Living Single, Martin. Uh, it's a different world. Family. It was so many times that the shows were available to say what they wanted, how they wanted, and not suffer consequences behind it. Nowadays, we have to be very cautious and careful about what we say to make sure we don't offend a certain community. And unfortunately, it dilutes the authenticity of the show. And I get it. Some people are too sensitive, but at the same time, we're 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 diluting a comedic's ability to get things across. Now I will say in today's time there are shows like the Miss Pat show, where I'm gonna keep bringing up Miss Pat because I love her, but her show is raw, and you haven't seen a show like hers in a while. So to get the opportunity to see her show, not only on a streaming service, but also you could watch it on just regular TV as well. Um, because a lot of these shows like Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones, not Game of Thrones, but Breaking Bad and Shameless and shit like that. Them shows had some raunchy shit in it, but you had to watch it on Netflix. It was showed on TV at some point, but certain things was bleeped out and taken off. And if you wanted to see the raw show with everything just out there, you had to watch it on the streaming network. With Mrs. Pat show, you don't see nothing's cut out. Even when you watch it on just regular BET, they don't cut the cuss words out. At least I haven't seen them do it, and I've watched her show, and I love the fact that she's one of many that's bringing that rawness back to TV, and not catering to too much sensitivity because that is the biggest issue nowadays. It's too much sensitivity and everything. The reason I'm looking at my phone is to make sure I stay on track with what I want to talk to y'all about today. Another question was, is today's shows less funny than back in the day? No, not at all. Our humor just is different. I feel like that when I watch shows that are of generations of people that I've seen back in the day, it's funny to me. But if I watch things of my niece's generation, it's not gonna be funny to me because I'm not living in that realm. I'm not growing up in that era. I've already grown up on what I've grown up on. Not to say that some of the stuff they watch isn't funny. It's just that it's a different connection. When I get to comparing TV shows, some of the ones I have seen, some of them I have never seen. So you're gonna hear me. If I haven't seen the show, I'm gonna say I haven't seen the show, so I don't know what it's about. But it just shows that I wanted to have compared so I can use it. Um, let me see. Oh, one thing that you couldn't do back in the day, you could not skip the freaking intro. You had to sit and listen to that intro. There was no skipping the intro. That's why I know my girl, Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless. I know all the theme songs to it. It's shit you couldn't skip. Like Reba. My roots are planted in the past. Oh, my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I wanna be. A single mom who works too hard and loves her kids and never stops with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I'm a survivor. And then you got girlfriends. My girlfriends, my girlfriends, yeah, through thick and thin. My girlfriends, my girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, they had songs that you couldn't skip. Nowadays on streaming network, skip, get that shit up out of here. Now I'm an old school person, so I love the theme songs. So unless it's trash, but I'm gonna give the song a 10 episode grace period, meaning I'm gonna listen to the theme song for 10 episodes. If it don't get stuck in my head, if it don't become catchy, I'm skipping it just cause. Like I listen to Family Businesses theme songs, the Tima's theme song, back in the day, Half and Half's theme song I would listen to. Through this journey of discovery, this journey of discovery, you finding you, I'm finding me, you finding you, I'm finding me. Now that I have someone special, that brings out the joy inside of me. We can become whatever we wanna be, all we need. Anyway, y'all get the point. That was the life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't skip it, so they had to make sure the theme songs was catchy. Nowadays, they know people can skip the theme song and the intro, so I'm not saying that they slacking on the theme songs, but some of these shows I have noticed, like, they just either doing instrumentals that's trash or theme songs is trash. I shout out 50 Cent for the original Power, because the original Power's theme song with Joe was lit. Miss Pat's theme song is lit. Now I love Tyler Perry. However, the Sisters theme song is trash. It's catchy, but I don't. It's kind of trash to me. I'm not a big fan of that theme song. Now, Zatima's is dope. Whoever did Zatima's, they did a good job because I fucks with that one. But I like Miss Pat's because it's I'm a grown ass woman. Yeah, that shit rock. You know, I'm getting off top. I'm getting off. I'm supposed to be going through the rest of this shit. Um, I will say it's hard for me to compare today's humor to back in the day's humor because, like I said, most of the shows I'm watching are of people who are the generation that I watched when I was a child. So I'm not currently the only thing that this current generation I guess is like Abbott Elementary, and I fucks with that show. It's dry humor, but it's it's funny to me. You know, it's a good show, good shit. Um, I will say that back in the day with TV shows like family TV shows, they had way more guest appearances from other celebs. And it was just like a fun time. It was like huge cast, great people would slide through. Wayne's brothers had a lot of people come through. Moesha had a lot of people come through. Um, um, a Different World had a lot of people come through. It was just so many guest appearances in a lot of these TV shows, and then also the cast was bigger back in the day. In today's time, the cast, at least the main cast, has shrunk a lot, but at the same time, they don't have the celebrity guest appearances like they should. Like Miss Pat's bringing that back though, because Miss Pat then had some great celebrity appearances. Um, I can't think of no other shows right now because I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of no other shows that really had no good celebrity guest appearances. And the reason why I brought that up is because all the shows that I've seen that are in today's time, like Abbott Elementary, The Upshaws, Shameless. I haven't watched Breaking Bad, but I've seen like little clips of it. There's no real celebrity guest appearances and none of them shits. And I get it, Breaking Bad is about selling dope and some other shit, so whatever. But even like with the Family Business, they haven't had any like. Well, I guess you can't really do no celebrity guest appearances in the Family Business. But the point is, they're not really bringing that back. And like the sitcoms, especially, it's only one person really that's been bringing back the celebrity guest appearances, and that's been Miss Pat. You know, even though Tyler Perry's that guy, I wish he would bring some celebrity guest appearances to some of the shows. Like maybe have your people go to like concerts and shit, and they go see like I don't know, fucking Usher, Chris Brown, goddamn Lettucey. Like, you know what I'm saying? Have some celebrity guest appearances. If you don't want to do it on the sister show, do it on Zatima because Zatima, Crystal Renee Hazlett is a real life singer. She can sing her ass off. So like bring some guest appearances for some singers to inspire her. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's bring that shit back. The guest appearances was always fucking lit. You know what I'm saying? But I rest my case on that. Now, this is the big key difference between back then and now. Back then, you had to wait till next week to see your show. You just had to wait, right? Nowadays, you still gotta wait for some shows to drop an episode week per week, but here's the thing: because they're on a streaming service, you could be binge watching another show while your new show is coming out with their series and shit like that. So that'll way by the time you finish that show, the other show is already good to go. And a lot of times, some of these TV shows you don't have to wait; they already just drop the whole season on there. Like Netflix be dropping the whole season on there. And I get it. It's a streaming service. Why not? But that is the big difference between back then and now. All right, so I gave you some back then and now analogies and breakdown. Um, and then also too, here's some key things I wanted to point out. Old sitcoms had character growth, rewatch value, and iconic moments, which is like what I was talking about earlier. With the new sitcoms, they're more focused on cinematography, diverse stories, um, serialized stories, and modern humor. So back in the day, the stories might not been told in chronological order, so to speak, but they all reconnected to each other some way somehow. Like when you watch the Martin Show, some of his shows did connect back to back to back, but some of them didn't. But they still kept the story line going. It's just it wasn't forced to go in order, so to speak, if that makes sense. Well, now in today's time, when you watch shows like Abbott Elementary or Breaking Bad or the Upshaws or um, Shameless or all them other shows, what is it, Game of Thrones, what's that damn show, Orange is New Black, um, what's the name of that show with all them damn kids? Stranger Things. That show is told in chronological order, at least from what I was told. Never watched Stranger Things or Breaking Bad. I watched Shameless though. I stopped watching Shameless, I think, after like seasons 5 or 6, somewhere around there. But Shameless was a good show. Um, I honestly don't think the sitcoms of today's time and the regular TV shows of today's time, the dramas, the sitcoms, the real life or whatever you want to call them. I don't think those shows are necessarily worse. I just think that because we're in different times and different generations, we view it differently. And some of the shows we can get jiggy with, some of them we can't. Um, hmm. Real quick. No, I'm gonna do that at the end. Now, when I told you I wanted to compare a few TV shows, this is what I was going to talk about. Now, family sitcoms. Remember, I mentioned Bernie Mac and Miss Pat. One thing that they shared in common is Bernie Mac and Miss Pat say whatever they want to say, however they want to say it, right? But they still was family oriented and still was showing love. Now, Bernie Mac took in his sisters, and Miss Pat show she's just raising her own kids. You don't see anything about the babies that she took in, right? Then you got My Wife and Kids and the Upshaws. Very, very similar shows. The only thing that's really different is in My Wife and Kids, Michael Kyle was married to his wife with no outside children. In the Upshaws, Bernard is married to his wife but has an outside child. But all in all, the shows are very similar. They go through ups and downs. Um, they live life like a family. They go through marital problems. They same shit, just different pages of the book is a little bit different here and there. Now it compared Family Matters and Tyler Perry's Assistant Living to each other, and the only real similarities to the Matters and Assistant Living is Matters. Of course, they had their inside family, like the wife, the kids, and all that. But then you had the aunt or cousins and the grandmas and shit like that that was in the house as well. The daughter who went upstairs and never came back down, shit like that, right? And then with Tyler Perry's Assisted Living, you got all these different personalities in one home, but they're all older people who are retired and living in a retirement home. So that's the real big difference between those two shows. Is one's more focused on retired people, and Family Matters is more focused on the actual bloodline, the family that's that's connected. Now, they both share family core values. It's just that one's modernized and one isn't. That's the only big difference. Now, this is where this part is called strong female leads. Now the back the back then episode the back then shows, these shows I've seen. The now shows I haven't seen, but these are shows I heard are pretty good. Now in the comments you could tell me if you heard of these shows before. Now the then shows is like, okay, so they got Living Single. They compared it to a show called Harlem. I heard Harlem is a good show. I want to watch it because I heard it's good. Then you got Moesha. That's compared to Survival of the Thickest. Never heard of that show until a couple weeks ago. Not sure if I want to watch it or not. Tell me in the comments if it's good if you watched it. Then you got Girlfriends versus Run the World. Now, I've never heard of Run the World. Didn't want to do any research on it just yet. Because I want you guys in the comments to tell me. Out of those three shows, Harlem, Survival of the Thickest, Run the World, if you've heard of any of those three, put them in order which way I should watch them first. Because I shouldn't have looked up any of the shows. Anyway, I should have just popped them on, turned them on, and figured out what they was about. But I looked up um, Harlem and Survival of the Thickest, and I probably shouldn't have. Workplace comedy, the Jamie Foxx show versus Abbott Elementary, as I was talking about earlier. Very, very connected shows, mainly because in the Jamie Foxx show, Jamie was going after Fancy, and Abbott Elementary, I forget her name. I hate that I forget her name. Uh, Shorty McShort. I'm drawing blank on her name, and it fucking sucks because I love her character. She was dating somebody, broke up with them, and then she started dating other niggas and shit like that. Then she ended up with Gregory. Um, you know, similar shit. The shows carry similar values. Now, this show I have heard of that's getting ready to get compared to Martin, but I just never watched it. So of course I watched Martin, but I've never watched The Neighborhood. That's Cedric the Entertainer and Tanisha Arnold. I believe it's their show. Never watched the show, and honestly, it's mainly I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I fucks with Cedric the Entertainer. He's a cool cat. You know, he's got some good times in movies, and you know, some of his stand up is pretty cool. However, I'm not a big fan of his acting 100% to say that I can get down with watching The Neighborhood. And it's not just because of Cedric the Entertainer, because I would still kind of watch it for Tanisha, but the problem is the rest of the cast that's on there. If it was Tanisha and Cedric with different cast members that I know can act, I probably would watch it. But them other folks that's on the show that I've seen, the snippets, the episodes I've seen, I'm not too highly impressed with the rest of the cast. And it's not because they white, it's because they acting is dry. You could have found some other white folks that can act their ass off. Cause some of them I wasn't a big fan of the acting. It was draining you. It was draining your girl. Just saying. And I'm not no actress my damn self, but I know good acting when I see it. Just saying. Um, I don't think I have anything else I want to compare. The point is, a lot of these shows we're going to talk down on, right? But in reality, if you're not from that generation, it may just not make sense to you because you're not from that generation. Just keeping it a buck. That could be the number one reason why the show may be ass to you because you're not from that generation. And I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But before I get up out of here, because I only took probably about 10-15 minutes of y'all day. You know, as you notice, the show has been getting a little shorter, especially if I'm not talking about a specific episode or anything like that. Of a TV show. They have getting a little bit shorter, and that's on purpose. I'm trying not to take too much of you guys' time because it's not like the movies where I recap an entire, you know, movie. I'm not recapping an entire season or episode all the time. Now, before I close this out, I need everybody in the comments to answer me one quick question. If you could only keep one sitcom forever, which ones are you choosing? And just tell me in the comments why. I'll let you pick from drama, comedy, and sci-fi. Drama, comedy, sci-fi, and romance. Those are your four topics. If you could pick a show from each one of these eras, or not eras, I'm sorry, but each one of these genres, comedy, drama, uh, sci-fi, and romance, out of those four, tell me which show. If you don't have one for a specific genre, that's fine. Skip it. But if you could pick a show from each one of those four genres, drop in the comments and tell me which one you would pick. Like what's your go-to show that you will keep forever? Meaning the rest of the shows is going bye-bye. This is the show you're keeping forever. In the meantime, in between time, I have been your host, Miss Tay Nicole, and I appreciate y'all for rocking with me and just holding your girl down. Shout out to everybody who's hit that subscribe button. We are currently sitting at like 700 something subscribers, and I really love y'all and I appreciate y'all wholeheartedly for that. Make sure y'all do me a real big favor, and that's keep sharing out my content, keep believing in me, and just keep rocking with me because I'm gonna always believe in myself. I'm always rocking for myself, but it's always a blessing to see other people rocking with me. So I love y'all, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace out.